Sometimes the world works in strange ways. I don't know why an older straight white dude, has to be the one who has written more than anybody about the tsunami of black on gay violence all around the country, but I am. A couple of gay magazines have picked up my stories, but most of them are right in there with lots of reporters, lots of public officials, ignoring, denying, condoning, excusing, encouraging, and even lying about this enormous level of black on gay crime. In Dallas, we've had 15 examples of attacks on gay people in one neighborhood, Oak Lawn, in the last 2 months. Most of the attacks have been black people. A couple of them have been Hispanics. The Hispanic thing is weird, though, because there are lots of black Hispanic people. One's a race, one's an ethnicity. Let's take a look at the latest victim. Okay, here's a young guy who just left one of the gay bars in the Oak Lawn section of Dallas. A bunch of black people came upon him and beat the hell out of him. You know, and don't make the black kids angry. And in White Girl Bleed a lot, I document a lot this enormous amount of hostility in black culture towards gay people you can find, whether it's your popular rapper, whether it's this or that. But it seems like gay people just aren't willing to stand up and say, hey, there's something really, really wrong in these neighborhoods. When a gay person leaves a gay bar, they are targets. Lots and lots of black on gay hostility, often expressed in violence, as we see here. But you know what? Everybody's so afraid of it. Why don't we look? I want you guys to, now, knowing what you know now, let's take a look at an interview that goes on for 3 or 4 minutes, where everybody tries to dance around exactly what is going on here.
Michael Dominguez is also an Oak Lawn attack victim. Because of that attack, he co-founded Survivors Offering Support SOS. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
There's a lot going on in your neighborhood. We just heard from the mayor. I'm curious what your reaction to what he said is.
You know, first of all, we want to thank Mayor Rollins for coming out, surveying the area and really making his presence known, showing support for the community. Like him, we want these attacks to stop. We want them caught, whoever's perpetrating this, we want them caught, but more importantly, not for the fun or for tourism. We want it stopped because these are people's lives.
Exactly.
These are 15 people's lives who have been dramatically affected by the events that have gone on for the past 6 weeks. And to say that we want anything less than justice would be an injustice to these people.
So you were here a couple of weeks ago, shortly
Yes.
after your attack. We can still see a little mark
Yes.
from where you were cut there on your eye. Then you were hopeful that
Yes.
these attacks. How are you feeling now about things?
I have to remain hopeful, but I think I share the same sentiment as many people in the community. We are frustrated. We want something done. We want justice. We want whoever is doing this to be caught. Back in July when they found the body of Shade Schuler, her killer is still at large. The 4 men who beat up Blake after the Pride Parade are still at large. My attacker is at large. We're 2 months in, and we're no closer to getting any answers than when I was here a few weeks ago.
So an increased reward is now being offered. There are citizen patrols. There are more police officers on the street. What needs to be done right now to get this to stop, to find these attackers? Because there's a lot, it seems, being done.
Yes. And I think there is the illusion of things being done, and there's things actually being done. And I don't pretend to be a police officer or a detective or to know exactly what goes in. But I think myself, like many people in the community, want to know that this isn't just talk. The increased patrols are going to be there, not during the day, but from the hours of 11 to 3 in the morning when heavy traffic is down there and people are more prone to walk home. We want to see more patrols that are more responsive, and we want arrests made. We want to know that leads are being followed up on.
Absolutely. And two, I know part of SOS is talking to the people who have been victims to get them to tell their story. Because I know that's part of the issue too, is that people are maybe a little bit hesitant to come forward. So you've got to get that done.
We want people to feel comfortable in sharing something very intimate about themselves that they are been reluctant to share. Any minority group, there is a level of distrust with law enforcement that dates way before these particular incidents. And we want to bridge that gap between the law enforcement of Dallas and these communities are being affected by this violence.
Well, I think it's got to be the two working together.
Absolutely.
Are you concerned at all about the citizens on patrol? That makes me nervous. I worry. I'm glad they're there, but I worry for their safety.
You know, absolutely. We appreciate that we have concerned citizens of Oaklawn that, like myself, again, are very upset and are fed up with the lack of response and the lack of action. We always have to be very careful. Anytime you go in with good intentions, sometimes bad things can happen. You're putting yourself into danger. You're putting other people in danger, and you're possibly impeding any police work that is going on. So while, yes, we always want to jump in and take action and be responsible for our community, we have to be very mindful that we're not also opening up a can of worms that could lead to even more negative repercussions.
Well, I know one thing that you want to do is that you're having this protest. It's Sunday night to help spread the word and make more people aware, right?
You know, the protest is, you know, for every person, every minority group, every person that has felt slighted, that has felt like their cases haven't been taken seriously, that felt like things weren't being done. You know, for every Shade Schuler out there, for every Michael Dominguez, there are people that have reported things and have felt like it has just fallen by the wayside. This protest is to bring awareness to the Dallas Police Department that say, we're a community. We're not going to sit back and just trust that things are being done. You need to show that things are being done. So anybody is please welcome. You don't have to be a part of the LGBT community. We need citizens making their voices heard, because you should be just as outraged that 15 attacks have gone on and not a single person has been arrested.
Well, I guess this dude is outraged, but not that outraged. Not outraged enough to tell the truth how gay people are targets of black mob violence all over the country. And you know who's really a target? Gay black people. I mean, when you look at the surveys on how often they are victimized, and it's not white people, it's not Hispanic people, it's not people running around with KKK hoods on. They're victims of black violence in black neighborhoods on epic and horrific levels. This guy, this girl we just saw on this show did not have the cojones, the huevos to talk about it. This is Colin Flaherty. If you have any gay friends running around in Dallas, or St. Louis, or New York, or Boston, or Baltimore, or Washington, D.C., San Diego, or any other big city, each one of which has a big gay neighborhood where lots and lots of people walking around who are targets. Cleveland. Just remind them of one thing. Don't make the black kids angry. Black violence against gay people is kind of like the black violence against illegal immigrants. There's a lot of it. We don't hear about it, and mostly because gay people aren't eager to have their lifestyle exposed, some of them. And illegal immigrants, if they report the violence, they're afraid they're going to get deported. So there's a lot of it going on, a lot more than we hear about, a lot more than shows up in the newspaper, a lot more than public officials want to admit to. I mean, we remember this, and there's a lot going on in Dallas right now. So in Dallas, we just learned that the local TV down there reported the 17th example of black on gay violence in the last few months. Now, we did something a few months ago on it when it first started. I think the tally was 5 or 6 or 7, and we talked about how all this black on gay violence exists all over the country and how in Dallas it was proceeding along the same way. A lot of violence, a lot of denial, a lot of delusion, and a lot of people hesitant to say what it really was. I talked to some cops, I talked to some law enforcement officials in that area. They said, yeah, it's all black on gay. Well, here in this report we're going to see now, the reporter kind of waits till the very end to kind of drop these two nuggets on us. But what he did was say, yeah, it's black on gay, and oh yeah, there's a hell of a lot more going on than even the cops know about.
Dallas police are investigating yet another violent attack in the Oak Lawn area.
That man is now the 17th person to report an attack in Oak Lawn since September. It happened early Saturday morning on a side street off busy Cedar Springs Road. Fox 4's Alex Boyer is in the Dallas neighborhood tonight. And Alex, tell us why police believe this assault may be a hate crime.
Well, Natalie, I can tell you that the victim says the assault took all of 10 seconds, but he says to him it felt like an eternity. It happened here on Dickinson Avenue. Now, the two suspects didn't rob him, but one of the suspects called him a homophobic slur, which is why I'm told Dallas police are investigating this as a possible hate crime. Craig Knapp loves living in Oak Lawn.
It's just a great, vibrant area.
Around 2 o'clock Saturday morning, Knapp returned home from a night out in the neighborhood.
Spent some time with some great friends at one of the bars, Alexander's on the Strip.
Knapp was dog sitting for a friend, so he decided to take the dog for a walk. Knapp remembers being on Dickinson Street when he heard a stranger's voice.
He goes, "What's your dog's name?" And that's when I knew somebody was behind me. It's all coming back to me now. And I said, "Sissy." And he starts chuckling. And then he cussed as he pushed me down, pushed my face into the ground.
He called you? Knapp saw two men. He says the guy who pushed him to the ground began kicking him while the other guy watched.
I offered to give him the 20-something bucks I had, my phone, and he said, "We don't want any of that."
The two suspects took off on foot. Knapp says he was so disoriented from the attack that he let go of the leash.
I guess I probably hit the pavement right here.
The dog took off running. Knapp stumbled back to the apartment complex where a security guard called 911.
We're here to help, and we hope he knows that we've got his back.
Burke Burnett is one of the co-founders of Survivors Offering Support, or SOS. The Dallas-based organization helps survivors of attacks with resources. In Knapp's case, it's new prescription glasses.
I think it's important that people know that this is still going on, that it's a problem that we've yet to find a solution for. It's important for our leaders to be working toward that solution.
Since the first reported attack on a gay man last September, the city has installed about a dozen security cameras and assigned additional police officers to the area. Still, after 17 reported attacks, there have been no arrests, prompting Knapp to speak out.
I got to make a difference in somebody else's life. And my mom always taught me that you got to try to make a bad situation as best as you can.
Knapp says the man who beat him was African American and was wearing a hoodie, but he said one thing that he remembers is that the man had a gold tooth. Now, remember, this is the 17th reported attack. Community leaders here in Oak Lawn tell me that they are aware of at least 5 additional unreported attacks.
Black violence in Dallas is, of course, a taboo topic among reporters and city officials. Matter of fact, if there's any kind of racial violence happening down there, city officials, especially the mayor, they know what's to blame: white racism.
I am more fearful of large gatherings of young white men that come into schools, theaters, and shoot people up, but we don't isolate young white men on this issue.
And when you ask black leaders, Whether it's members of the NAACP or Black Lives Matter, they both give the answer when you ask them what's up with all this black mob violence, black on white crime, black on Asian, black on gay, black on young, black on old, black on straight. They all say the same thing.
What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about, Willis?
So who's going to be the first gay leader to call out black people for this enormous amount of black mob violence and black on gay violence all over the country? Who's going to be the one to bell the cat? Probably not going to be this mayor of Dallas. The only idea this clown has is to blame it on white racism and to warn the people of Dallas of his surefire crime prevention strategy, which is don't make the black kids angry.